Hey guys, it's Dave from 3DP and me. Hopefully you can hear me today, and hopefully we don't have the same issues as last time with the wind. So, how you all doing? Right, so today's plan, we are going to be taking on the Y-axis build and the Millennium Mill. Hopefully I've got most of the parts I need prepared here. I was doing my prep before the stream and putting all the heat set insets in to try and speed things up. However, I got a phone call from my boss who had got stuck in the mud. So I had to go on a little trip out to rescue him. So I'm a little bit behind. So we are going to start the stream off with inserting some of our heat set inserts. But that's a good chance to do some questions while I stab away with the soldering iron. Those of you who haven't done those before, I've just got a little bit of aluminium plate here, and I'm just going to be using that to press the insert on after I've heated it, just to keep it nice and flat in that hole. There's also a little trick on making sure the inserts on the inside are seated nicely, but we'll get onto that now. Cool, so let's get doing inserts. So on the end for the attaching the lead screw nuts, we've got the M3 inserts. It's the long ones you want to use here because you want to get that extra holding force. The LDO kit does come with some heat insert attachments for your soldering iron, but because I'm swapping through everything at the moment quite quickly, instead of changing sizes, I'm just going to use my iron as it is, mostly because I'm lazy. Yeah, let's get stuck in. Hey guys, good. I'm glad you can hear me this week. So the little trick I was mentioning is, whilst that's still hot, take your nut and just force it into that end so that it gets a nice, so you get a nice flat finish. And what that's doing is going to stop any of that plastic from bulging out and from the nut from squeezing into the channel itself, because it's quite a thin wall between the two edges. I'll do the next one. You might see better from above, he says. Ooh, just adjust that zoom. Cool. So, it's something much longer to poke that out of the hole. So once you've done that, just use something to poke it back out of the hole. As you can see, it should have set nicely in there without bulging too much into the hole itself. So who of you on the stream has bought a kit then? Who's waiting for them to be delivered? Just repeat again. Give it a little bit of time to cool. Right, while that's cooling, adjust the lead screw back. Remember not to pop one in each end, as you'll won't be able to get anything in there to extract them while you're doing this process. Was anybody following my posts in the showcase earlier? I thought I'd just do a little bit of machining while I was waiting to set up for the stream. It all went wrong. Well, it's not entirely true. I was getting a lovely part out, but yeah, it also took a chunk out of my vise because I didn't leave enough stock here. So the good news, Milo just chomped through a not so soft steel jaw. The bad news, I now need a new steel jaw. Oh, that's the bad one. But yeah, as you can see, you got a lovely, lovely shiny boy out. So happy with this. This is going to be the part that holds down the fixated plate. So this slots into the groove on fixated and gives a nice flange to compress that plate along the full width, not just in two points where the bolts are. And what our goal for that is we're going to start selling little blocks of the stock material in just the right sizes, so that you can just buy like a project kit to get started. So you should have everything included in the LDO kit, plus these little bits of stock to get you going with machining your first parts. And it's nice and easy. The part only uses the tool bits in the starter kit. It just keeps everything straightforward. Imagine going through the bolt hole so you can unscrew it. I have gone over the bolt holes a bit. I'm a bit worried that I might not be able to unscrew them this time. We'll have to see that. I think I can wedge a Torx in there. Fingers crossed. At least the jaws still work as they are, and arguably I've got more clearance now. That's it. Place that in again. Cool. Right. Now for the big boys. So it's M5 heated inserts on these holes. What is worth noting is I've got the spot to above. I've got the original versions here. We have since updated these, so if you're building this in a week or two's time, you'll have horizontal holes here, and that just makes accessing those easier once it's installed. To be honest, I might go back and rebuild this section because it is a pain getting to these on the vertical orientation. Hopefully no broken taps this stream. Yeah, hopefully not. LDO has tapped all of the ends of the extrusions. In theory anyway. I've got one of the really early beta kits, which means that I think there was 1 or 2 missed taps on the original test build materials, but in the release kits that won't be the case. I'm just a bit slow at building this thing. The bigger inserts always take a bit longer to warm up. A bit of aluminium stock is actually perfect for this because it heat transfer rate and it's great, so it sucks the heat out really quickly. Obviously protects your workbench, whatever your workbench might have been made out of. Cool. How's the music? Can you guys hear it, or do I need to turn it up slightly? This little bad boy. Yeah, this isn't actually connected. Every time I think about it, and then I remember that webcam actually sucks. So I don't end up using it. Going to sleep. Right, so if you look here, where's my camera gone? There it is. So what you're aiming for when you do these is to not end up with like any bulges on these parts, where the plastic's like squidged out. So you want it nice and flat, flush with the top surface. Right, I just like to have a little bit of background noise, so during my long silences when I forget to speak. Right. Let's clear this up a little bit. So as I said, I was going to clear up these sacrificial layers and stuff before, but yeah, I had to go and rescue my boss. Yeah, he's been stuck for like 2 hours. He got his van stuck on like a grass verge in the peaks, and he reckoned they could get out as soon as the car that's behind them moved, so they could go kind of downhill instead of back uphill to get out. But it's now dark and the car was still there, so they he had his wife and baby in the car, so they they gave up and just called me to rescue them. So here we are doing it on stream. I'll clean up these bits afterwards. Wait. So quickly get the manual for this part. So, I know I'm jumping around, but I just want to get all the inserts out of the way so we can not worry about the thing anymore. Right, it's just the two in this one. It's the short M2.5. Teeny tiny. My hole is too big for M2.5s. Interesting. I don't remember if this was a bomb change specifically for the switches. Okay, we'll come back to that one because yeah, we may have to put M3s in there, and I'll have a look at what lead screw, what the end stop switch sizes are. Yeah, see, that's what I thought. Even the older bomb ones, I'm pretty sure, were also M2.5. Interesting. Have to see. I strongly suspect I've got the old version, which is the issue with being ahead of the times. Yours also kind of dropped in. Yeah. Mine are too loose, really. I have to check. It's possible that I have the old, some of the old M2.5s, which I think were bigger. OD on them. Anyway, we'll do this one, and then I will dig them out because they're probably up. Oh, there. let's have a look. M2.5. Yes, there we go. Okay, yeah, I have the old pre-LDO M2.5 version. It looks chunky. Let me just double check that with M2.5 bolt. I don't trust my filing system here. Okay, grab the M2.5. Just have a little look. I printed sleeves at my house. That's one way to do it. Joseph, if you're any good with GitHub, would you do me a favour and just pop a bug report in for that part on GitHub, and we'll just at least make sure that the LDO version has the correct sized holes on this side. It's also possible that the release version has different set of inserts that fit, because these M2.5s fit fine, so I need to check. This is the issue with having a beta kit. Cool. Let's just go. Tiny little recess stopping me from using my normal tactic of pressing against the plate. There we go. That works. Yes, I think I've got the wrong size. If I check, it's probably correct. Those are the M3s. So make sure I don't lose any of these. There's too many inserts on the table now. Don't want to get them all confused. I think the CNC Kitchen ones are standardized for all the LDO parts. These ones I don't think are. I think these ones are different. And I think that's only there in the beta kit, not in the released ones. Yeah, as I said, please make a note of it, and I can check afterwards. But I don't remember anyone else having this same issue when I watched Nero and 3D Maker Noob. Right. I have a bigger issue though. Look at this. I'm missing 4 holes. I'm just gonna put a spanner in the works. Okay. Well, I think we're going to get so far in this build today without this part. We are 8 o'clock. Have a look at what the print time will be on it, but I don't know how that's happened. Look. Holes are just missing. Anyway, right. Get to that. This way up. 5s in the ends. This one has enough holes, so that's a good start. What's going on in chat while I was working out why my y-axis block is missing its things. Well, in theory they do, but it's missing the counter bores, so it's missing more than just that layer. A solid bottom, that. Cool. Not quite sure what we're going to do with that. We're just going to have to get as far as we can on this side of the axis and then hope for the best. Be able to find the printed parts now. Get one of them on and see how we go. I think I'm loaded with black. I am loaded with black ABS. That's a good start. Right, Milo 1.5. I'm going to print this. SDL files. Single main. Y-axis. Note mount. We've got that one. And block. Yep. Yeah. You can see here that there's the holes that should be there. Not entirely sure how I've ended up with what I've ended up with. Interesting. Right. Let's just double check the LDO ones actually. Quickest way to get there. There's the links. Color coding, whisker, spindle mount, expansion boards, power supply, hand wheel, drag chain. Nope, didn't think there was anything changes there. Cool, so I've downloaded that. Let's get that printing. I don't think it'll be printed in time though, fortunately. Oh yeah, no chance. Little V0 is going to take nearly 4 hours to do that part. Let's change the infill pattern to something sensible. Right. Just need to clear out that bit of plastic down there. 4 hours still. Yeah, that's unfortunate. One of these devices will poke that little nodule of plastic out. Something a bit bigger through that. Go on. Right. Yeah, just got a very stubborn bit of plastic sat in the middle of this insert. Five for it, clear it out. Plastic all over it. Oh, Sorry guys, I left you watching the spinny block for the whole time. No, those holes are not exploded, folks. They are, yeah, not as you'd expect. Let's turn on the heater in the V0. Let's get this part printing. The next time. Cool. And this part will go in, it's just stiff now. Okay, so just reseat this insert. Because it got too much plastic in when I put it in that hole. Thankfully I've got spares over here, so. Better. Where were we? Got very distracted by trying to reprint that part. Right. Hearts of Iron is just the spindle mount. Yes, it is. Hearts of Iron is just it's machined inserts for inside the spindle. Right, so that just needed those 4 inserts in it. Let's hop back to Chrome. I think that's all of the inserts we need. Yes. So M3x6 is the long ones. So this is the short ones again on this part. It's only holding on the drag chain. Right, back to these things. Okay, so I think this is the last 3 inserts, and then we can get onto the actual build. get all these inserts out of the way so we don't lose them. Just clean this bench a little bit. Okay. So broke that when we were. Okay. Let's get started then. So we get the build series, build instructions up. I'm gonna hop back to the top. Get started. So right. So we have the anodized aluminium XY plate. It is not symmetrical, so you do need to make sure you get it the right way around during these steps. I never do this version. I always follow Ray's method, where you don't have to remove the carriages from the rails, just because I have a permanent fear of losing rails on carriages. So what we're gonna do is basically get back to me. Right, so we are going to basically attach the two bearing blocks, one to each side, like so. This one first. And you need to get it the right way round, which is always the fun part of this. Here is that way around. Let's double check in the diagrams. Okay. Let's reload these babies. So these are your anti-backlash nuts. By having the ability to tension the lead screw nut on both sides to pull them towards each other, you essentially remove any float in the lead screw. So we need the M3x8s. We're in here somewhere. And 3x6, got every size except for the 8. appear to have 2 sets of 3x6. Self-tapping. There they are. Cool. So the silver. These guys. Yeah, I know. They are screwed onto the wooden panels. I need to actually get around to printing all my tool holders for them, but that always seems to be another project that comes up first that's more interesting. Right, so with these, I like to have one of them essentially tightened all the way down, and then the other one a bit loose. And the reason for that is then the one that's at the front, the one you can actually access better, is the one that I tend to go in and tighten to set the load. And I like to have the one at the back just locked right down. Just because you can't really ever get there anyway. I'm just going to remind myself which way round that one at the back is. Come on, open CAD. .5 releases. 24th. Right. Don't forget your third locker. So I'm just going to check the underside of this model in the CAD to make sure I get it the right way round with the one that I like to tighten fully. Yeah, okay, so the flat side is the one that I like to have fully tightened. And as you're tightening these down, you want to make sure that it sits flat and not like at a funny angle. I need multiple screens to see the chat. You can use it to paint those screws black. I mean, if I actually had OCD, then yeah, but thankfully I do not. If you do get any up above, if you do get any thread locker around the part, try and wipe it off. Just because once it dries, it's a pain to get rid of. So as I said, I like to have that back one nice and tight, and the loose one at the front is going to have a decent amount of bit of slack in it. I'm not going to do that up tight yet, and that's the side that I'll use to tighten the things. Yep, flat side is fixed. Thank you. How's the top-down camera? I've been using my phone for it today because, well, I've given up on that webcam, so hopefully it's working well. Right. Like I said, I'll just keep those quite loose. Bit of play in that one. And then we are going to attach it onto here. Which we'll use M5 by 16s. Nope. Well, slightly magnetic. Right, if you're doing this method, you do need to essentially try and get everything aligned as best you can, sort of just visually at this point in time. Because you do have the disadvantage that it doesn't get aligned kind of automatically for you. But thankfully these machine plates are quite tight tolerances, so there isn't much deviation that's possible with this block. How are we looking? Oh, I keep forgetting to swap back. I'm terrible at this today. 114p. Interesting. I will have a look at that. In theory, my camera should have more resolution than my actual DSLR. But you never know. Get full 1080, 60. Well, that's what I thought. Maybe it's dependent on where you are in the world. Right. That's it attached. Now we have to attach the opposite side, so we're going to do the same again. With the X, it's a little bit less important which one of the two you prefer to tighten, because you can access both sides of the X-axis pretty easily. But I prefer to have the one on the right, so opposite the motor, on the same side as the hand wheel, as my preferred option. So if that's facing backwards, and this is that way, so it'll be the one with a single screw is the one that I like to have. Yeah, it's the one that I like to have as the loose one, the one that I do the tightening on. Yeah, I'm all with you on that, Joseph. I agree. I think it's the best side to have as the tightening one. I also find that it's easier to tilt Milo onto the side where the motor is. Once the lead screw, once the cable chain is tucked out of the way, it tilts over quite nicely and just rests on the motor. Cool. Nice and flat. Yes, that is the fact that motorhomes over that way is exactly my primary reason for doing that. Is just naturally in that position because it takes ages to wind it by hand to the other side. Okay, so I'm not going to tighten that one down as we just discussed. Right, we want the also M5 by 16s for this one as well. Who's chatting me on Discord? Jake. Um, is anyone else building Milos tonight at the same time, or are you all just watching? Hey Jake, we're building away. Although we do have a fun issue. This part that you printed, I think it didn't export correctly. There's something missing there. No, I haven't. I spent a lot of time on the Y, but the X I will have to do nicely once it's assembled a bit better. You're telling me they're hidden inside there? That would make my life better, and I don't need to print this one. Let's have a look, because that's sacrificial layers, so... Hey! You are correct. They were hidden. I totally didn't see it. I thought it was so solid when I felt by hand that they weren't going to be there at all. Ah. Oh, good news. We can successfully build the y-axis today then. Messed up my nice clean bench again. Advantages of it being a workshop. Deal with that later. Right. Good news. Will I be installing a touch probe? I will. I already have one on the main, on my other scene, another one over there that I've already built. This is obviously the LDO version, which doesn't come with the touch probe, but I will be adding one. Right. You have a cheap set of O-ring pick tools to clean out the holes. Share a link. I'd like to see what they look like. I typically just use drill little deburring tool or the scalpel. Right. Next up, we need to yes, and this is the one that LDO forgot to tap all of the holes on the beta kit. So we've got a little tapping to do, which, you know, brings back the put this down here. So we're tapping 5s, isn't it, in the end of these? Yes. Yeah, they so LDO forgot on the beta kit to do these, but it was picked up before they got shipped out for everyone else. So the rest of you lucky people won't have to do this. That goes, it's the middle two, isn't it? Oh man, I forgot how nicely these tapped compared to the open builds ones. That's one down. And I believe I don't need to tap the ones on the other end because they only use 2 of them. Yes. And this extrusion. I'm just wiping off all of the gunk and chips so that I get a cleaner tap to start the next one. Jake, did we ever discuss with LDO about blind tapping for the Z on these kits in the end? I know they're not on this version, but yeah, you were right, DIY Dash. I couldn't see. And you use a solid brim under your support there, which I never do. I have the hatched layer. When you do tap them, make sure you tap at least 10 or 15 mil into there, just to make sure you don't bottom out your screws. I'll probably need that again. Yes. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So we didn't do it because we didn't know if we'd be able to tram it nicely. Should have used the Ryobi. Yeah. No, we learnt that lesson now, didn't we? Right. So this is going to go on temporarily to set the location of the rails. That clicky feeling. Lovely. That fit a while for you, man. Not live on stream anymore. I've got PTSD from the last time. Although these LDO ones do actually tap a lot nicer. I don't know what it is with the ooze nest ones, like that profile on the inside that just it just catches and right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Jake, have you tried building it this way around yet? With the things. Oh. Okay, be careful that happens to you. My little rubber bung has fallen off. Don't want to lose those rail carriages. Raise method, you know, where you don't have to take the carriages off the rails. So these actually come very clean compared to some rails from China. But I'm just going to give a quick wipe down anyway, and then we'll re-lube them when we put everything back together. Yeah, I'm watching it, Ray. I'm watching it. Attach these bits on then. Right. So we need four M5x12 bolts, so not the 16s. BHCS. A big pack. Swap the top down and you can see what I'm doing. Oops, just line those things up, make sure they're aligned. Oh shoot, do you know what I forgot? Our good old friend thread lock. Tell you what, I do need to get myself some of the nice handled Allen keys for those initial doing up stages. Just for that extra little bit of comfort. that side on. Do this side. To start at a really weird angle. Work itself out. I did consider getting myself one of those nice little handheld micro screwdrivers, you know, that have such low torque that they're never gonna rinse anything. Any ETA for a UK supplier of these kits? Yes, go to desktopmachineshop.com and pre-order now. We're due to receive the batch that are currently for sale in March, and you can also order the printed parts from there. Yeah. Post the link, Jake. You know you want to. Right. Now, our rails position is set by this front one. And we need, well, 2 rails to start with. And the M3 spring nuts. Quite make the bin. Cool, got the loaded roll-in M3 T-nuts. And we want to replace one for every other hole. So we just get this rail in about the right place, and that will just help align, do that initial alignment. We'll obviously drop it on top and do the fine alignment in a bit. Is there anything on Milo needs to be properly torqued? Not really. Most of it is quite small, so actually in terms of cranking down really hard, you shouldn't be. You'll hear the printed parts crack and so on if you try and do that. In reality, you just kind of do a firm tightness and then you're good to go. That's the opposite way around. Yeah, man. So what I'm doing here is poking this little thing through just to do the fine alignment of the T-nuts to where the holes are. And then we're going to use the rail guides to hopefully get the rails nice and aligned. And then we need the M3x10s. That I've definitely seen already. 3x10s. Ooh, these bad boys. Don't forget your best friend, the thread locker. So you generally won't be able to do all of these, drop all of these in immediately, because the carriages will cover one of them in whatever position you put them in. I do suggest that you don't try and slide the carriages over the bolts until they're done up, because they can get caught on the bottom. And trust me, that can get very annoying. Yeah, I am going to do it your way. Did you change your YouTube tag, Ray? You got a second account. But you don't question a man why he's got 2 YouTube accounts. Right. Why mate? Because basically you don't need to bolt every hole, and it uses a lot of extra fixings and fittings, which adds up, and doesn't really make any difference to the overall performance at the end of the day. Oh no, I've got stuff on my rail. We have bolted every hole on some things, but it just doesn't make a difference, so we stopped doing it. I do have a dial indicator to hand, but I tend to just use the carriages to do it once the plate's attached. You know what? Let me dig it out because it's nearby. Nearby. I had it earlier. I don't know where it's gone. I tidied stuff to make space and have consequently lost everything, as is the way. Right. Now. Just leave those plugs in at that end. Y to the back of the machine. This is right, isn't it, Ray? I basically get this whole part assembled as is, and then I attach the X onto it. The right way around? Yeah. That's the one. We'll do all the bearings and stuff in a minute. Actually, we'll put these bearings in now, because otherwise I'm going to struggle to reach them very easily. What do I need? I need two 608Z and one 608Z on each side. These feel proper chunky. One, two. Spec close messages on that thread if you want. You can do a new edit. I can't find my dial indicator, unfortunately. Or I would have a look at doing it that way. We have the indicator but not the holder, so I don't think that's going to help us all that much. No, I'm not sure it is. Well, I think we're going to. I do like the fit of that little bearing on the end. Okay, so for those of you who aren't aware, all I was doing there is I've just been installing the bearings in here. So you need two of the ones without the flange, and then one with the flange on each side of the bearing block. And that gives the lead screw a lot of support and just stops him being able to flex and wobble. Right, let's do this. What's this attachment? Right, there we go. Just check I didn't miss those two heat set inserts while I'm at it. Nope, they're there. Good. Right, so we're going to go with the short bits and the long ones. Anyone remember what the short lengths are off the top of your head? M3 by 8. Why can't I find them? There they are. M3 by 5s. Oh. Right, so the way I like to do this is I like to get one bolt in each one of the carriages before I start putting the rest in, and that just helps make sure everything's roughly aligned. I didn't catch the start of the Nero build. How did he get on with taking the carriages off of the rails? Oh crap. Oh man, we would love a bigger one. Space though. Right, just gonna drop each of these in each of the holes. I don't know, we'd have to change up how we built it if we wanted to go bigger, I think. There's a reason why all big industrial mills are made using cast iron, or I suppose the seal ones, seal? However you say it, are made of epoxy granite. Right, no issues so far with it sliding still. Download a car. Oh yes we would! Right. Okay. Now we need some longer bolt. We need M3 by 20s. Six. 20s, and we need some washers. Ooh, my music stopped. Okay. Just a minor pause. Remember when you do these longer bolts, you're only actually thread locking the bit that goes into the bearing housing, not the full length of the bolt. In case you were wondering. Although my print is a little tight here, which means it didn't just drop all the way through. Better? I'm never sure about what volume to put the music. Should really start running it with headphones in so I can hear the output of the audio that you guys hear. Right, now we look at it. sliding fine. Little bearing guy keeps popping out. Yeah, sorry, I turned it up just a little bit. Let me know if it's too loud now. Now you super can. Oh man. In the middle. Yeah, you just, I don't know, I align the rails and let the carriages kind of set it up. One more of these. As long as this plate is made well, like this stage here, when you do it this way around, should be quite reliable. Obviously I'll take these stoppers out in a minute and check that I can get right to the ends. Obviously being careful of not losing any bearings on that end. Hopefully. We'll see. For me it tends to be the next stage where we have to fit the lead screw. That's the challenging one, and it's getting it to be still smooth whilst the lead screw isn't getting bound up on any of the positions. Quickly check WhatsApp. Okay. Cool. Right. Keep these little plugs just in case. Let's see how we're doing. It's a fraction tighter at this end. We're just going to be super careful here. No issues on that end. I'm just going to loosen one side of the rails a tiny bit at this end. Roll the carriages along and kind of let the rails, yeah, that's better. Let the rails position conform to the, yeah, okay. To the carriage. Nice. There we go. Let's do the same at this end. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. There. Cool, no binding. Let's get these back in before I lose any bearings. Right. Cool. Okay. Now the fun bit. I'm just scrolling to get the right. So, time to put the spider coupling on the end of the motor. Boom. Boom. Yeah, stop saying boom. That's Titan's thing, isn't it? What do we get sued? No, this is where I need. need this to be working. When you're in Sheffield, it's almost rude not to use a Swan Morton stainless knife. Man gets sued while building a CNC live stream. Honestly, given he's from the US area, it would not surprise me. Cool, so as always with these, you've got the small side, the big side. Big side obviously goes on the lead screw, small side on the motor. Just going to check, does it want me to attach it now? Yes, it does. These spider couplers are way nicer than the ones I've got. Like, look at the size of those bolts clamping it down. No stripped little annoying screws. Yeah, I'm really hoping that going through this build is going to make me realise how much easier it is compared to doing the self-sourced build that I did back before we had full build manuals or any of that fun stuff. I like to do this way up, just so that it sits nice and vertical and I don't clamp it at a funny angle because gravity's pulling it down. Ooh. Do you know what though? I bet these didn't come with thread locker on them. No, they didn't. Yeah, they are huge. It's confidence inspiring though, Jake, I'd say. A good decent amount of tightness because, as the guide says, you don't want this to be slipping around or you're trying to work out why your axis isn't moving. Remember, apply thread locker. Cool. Now we're going to put this in from the end. And don't forget the locking collars. Cool. Now I always forget which way I want this wire to go. think either sideways or down, isn't it? Yeah. That side. Cool. Need to put something in the manual with the wires poking out of this side. I remember 3D Maker Noob couldn't work out which side it was meant to be. Interesting. What are you getting stuck against? I think I might need to drill out the centre hole that goes through. Okay, it's stopping. Let's just check if this one's going to do the same. This one will go right through nicely. Okay. It's after I got it all running so smoothly. Fortunately, I think I just need to drill out the printed part slightly. I think the hole is a tad undersized. If I look through the end hole, I can sort of see almost like the printed part, the bore of it is a bit smaller than the lead screw nut. And it's just stopping it from going in, and that's going to cause a whole world of issues if I try and run with it rubbing like that. Goodbye, smooth axis. So I don't think it's the hole, it's the, well, I think it's past where the heatset inserts are actually. We'll find out when I take this back off, but yeah, I'm pretty sure the, I think these issues are arising because the standard M3 cheap inserts are a smaller outer diameter. I'm going to have to realign it if I take the rails off as well. It doesn't make a difference which way around. Either way, the rails are going to move or the things are going to move, and I'd rather not have the carriages sliding around while I'm trying to do this. Just align them with the printed jig. Oh, you mean slide it right off the end? Maybe these are going to fall out. Lots of them. Let's just tidy up these screws a little so I don't lose them. Always useful to have the little plugs. Let's try and thread this through now without anything else in the way and see. Yeah, I know, Ray. I know. I think possibly we could do it leading. Oh, come on. Oh no, there it is. It's got stuck again. Fine. When's it getting stuck? It's getting stuck as it touches the back of the lead screw nut on the opposite side. Just try and go from fixed side to floating. Myself a little bit of wiggle room on this side as well. That one's floating a tiny bit now. Hopefully this will now be able to feed through. Yeah, there we go. Okay, no biggie. Okay, so I think secret sauce there. Possibly to do that, just back it off half a turn on the tight side. And that side, tighten that back down. Install. Right. Yeah, what I'm about to try is just dropping it in as a whole thing. It's gonna make. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna undo this, and I'll drop it in with the lead screw attached, which will still allow me to slide it back and forwards to get the alignment of the carriages. And this can just be attached in there. Cool. I think I'm going to adjust that part of the manual because doing this where you can see what's going on is so much easier than doing it blind. So just all I was doing there, accidentally off the camera, was just making sure these tensioned evenly so that they're flush. I wonder how many of these you need to build before you get efficient at it. I'm definitely feeling this though, because that lead screw is not in the way at all. If anything, it's a little handle to that's a slider. As long as you've got the space from a build perspective to have it poking out, it's getting the lead screw through and nicely torsioned when you can see it was a lot easier. Millennium machines exist before Milo. They're sort of one and the same. I genuinely thought that 3D Maker noob, it was 3D. Yeah, 3D Maker noob was gonna properly speedrun it, but it took him. So it took him a fair whack. We had it on and I had family around and we popped it on in the morning and then we went away, played a whole board game, came back and he was still at it. My family, who aren't into CNC or 3D printing or anything, got weirdly into it and were asking me lots of questions and like, yeah, they showed a lot more interest watching his stream than my own parents ever showed in me doing anything with the with these machines. Go on, Ray. If you can do a sub 5 hour build, it'll blow my mind. Still sliding nice there. Well, as always, each time I put 1 or 2 screws in, I just check that it's still running smoothly. So at least that way you know it's whatever the last one you put in that caused the problem. You also never do them fully uptight until I get them all in. Just helps with alignment, helps get them started, because if you're a little bit off, the birds won't catch and won't start. How are we looking? Ooh. Okay, that might have done us some favours. That's running even smoother than it was before we took it apart. Move these up. How's the build going? Yeah, not too bad. I had a blonde moment, we're allowed to say that, where I didn't realise that the skirt was covering the holes in one of the parts, so I thought it was all going to go pear-shaped because my part was missing a bunch of counterbores, but they were in fact there. And Jake logged on and saved the day and persuaded me to just drill them out, and voila. I, as half the course, had to unassemble the Y-axis at least once so far. But I'd say overall the experience has been quicker, a lot quicker than the last time I did one of these. Although it's definitely worth noting that last time I was using a self-machined one of these plates, that was in no way machined to the same tolerance that this one probably is. Now, let's spread this through a bit more. What's this? Now, now we have to set the speed running rules. I think the speed running rules should be from the moment you. Yeah, I'm fine with prepping actually. I reckon just for the fun of the sport, everything can be prepped, but it doesn't end. It doesn't end until your end mill takes the first chunk, or like you have to. Part of it should be you have to machine your first little bit, like the Millennium logo and a piece of stock or something. I think that would be sick. I also think we should almost try and do like they've done with benchies with the speed boats. I think it'd be cool to see how fast the community can push a Milo. And I'm all for saying no holds barred, so servos, all the money's thrown at it. Because I'd love to see some standardized part that can be absolutely speed run on a Titan 1M, exactly. To be fair though, I had a good taking all the top bits off this that I did earlier, my little project bit that I'm working on. Like this whole top section was only like 3 or 4 minutes. Most of the time is tool changes as usual. Oh man, it really made me want an ATC. I was like, this stupid little tiny parts. Can we get it? Oh yeah, in focus, there we go. Yeah, shiny. And that's me going quite easy to get a good finish. Right. Locking collar. Whoop. Tiny little grub screws. Again, the fact that these aren't truly tiny, it's actually really nice. Yeah, that's all. I hate having to use the 1.5 Allen key on grub screws. Now let's just quickly check the instructions for the locking nuts again. So we pop a locking collar on this inside one. And then we will pop, do up the motor, and then we'll put another one on the outside. Yep. Looking for M5x30s. 22. 15. catching. There we go. Get in there. Yeah, I played with the 1.5 and the 2.2 kilowatt motors, and honestly, there's so many other things that come into play before you actually utilize, like fully utilize that extra power. Like the only time where I think I've really appreciated it was when I've been messing around with the big face mill and was able to pretty much run it at a bit lower speed. This was my heatset insert, was a little bit dodgy. I do prefer this the new Y-axis block. My machine back there still has the original one in, and this is a lot nicer, compact. Let's look at why this one's not catching. Okay. Just a bit of plastic in this one. This was the one that I did a very bad job of melting. Or too good a job of melting, depending on how you look at it. Right, how good are you at markdown? We need a markdown option for assembling it in this manner. Right. Lovely. No play already. What do I mean by markdown? Have you ever used GitHub? GitHub Markdown. It's like well, it's just a way for adding formatting to text. It's how the manual's written. Lovely. There's nothing in that. Not even done the close up, right. It's okay, it doesn't take long. I'm just wondering, you'd probably be quicker to get an instruction set down for this than I am. You can put it down as an alternate option. Right, I'm not. So, good tip, do not, even on these bigger ones, use your ball end Allen keys for doing up grub screws. So when I do these, I get the grub screws so they're at the point where they're just starting to catch, so that it turns with the lead screw. just lock this in place. Right. And then basically I push. So take my finger, push on the end, give it a pull just, and then really use your thumb on the other side and just press that locking nut in there before you tighten this down. Cool. Now I need to print the new LDO hand wheels, so I don't have them available yet. That's still turning nicely. A little bit stiff, but I think it's mostly just because I'm trying to turn a lead screw by holding the side of a lead screw. Yeah, no play there, which is good. I can hear something moving, but I can't work out what it is. Not that one. Okay, it's just the whole assembly moving on the table. Right. Yes, another locking on the outside, you're right. I just wanted to check that I wasn't getting any play before I did that. Assemble those grub screws in again. You can see the little blue dots in them. That's where they've had thread locker pre-applied. It's nice. And then because tension's already been applied, this one's requires a little less force. But again, just squeeze them together as you tighten up those grub screws. Cool. Good, good. Right. Right, what time are we at? 10. We've done the locking collars. Just done that, applying the pressure as we do them up. We are going to add the add the end stop in later as per the instructions. Drag chain mount. Okay. I have already installed the heat set inserts in there. We're going to go ahead and attach this onto the side. Could do with saying how far from the end it is, couldn't it? Measure that. CAD says about 35 millimeters from the end. And so we need a M5x12 and a T-nut. Where's my... The beauty of having a replaceable plywood worktop. You just don't care about it. Right. M5 by 12. Common boys. This one probably doesn't need any thread locker, but when in Rome. Never once has a YouTube comment sent a chill down my spine so fast. What have I missed while I was focused on actually building? It can be, no way of checking the distance travel you're going to approach. For you to expect hand a lot of the time. Oh yeah, if it had mill brakes and you're right in the firing line. Yeah, Casa. I feel a lot safer having that layer between me. Right, about 35 mil from the end. Apologies. Apologies again. Sorry for your ears. Hopefully no one had the speakers turned right up. It does want me to attach this little guy now, and I may as well. So it's got attaching the little connector for the drag chain. Yep, to unattach these, you just squeeze the two sides together and they sort of pop out. Be a bit fiddly. Especially when one side wants to come out but the other doesn't. When you do this, do check there is two different ends. So this one, the one that we need for this stage, has the male pins on. The one on the other end of the drag chain doesn't have those. It has a hole instead, and it's that you need the side with the little pins on. We're attaching that in with M3 by 6 FHCS M3 by 6. That's the little countersunk ones. 2, 3 on this side. That'll be the tiny. Yeah, I think we're going to finish once I do these last little bits from the manual on the Y, and call that a successful day. Only one rebuild, which is good. Yeah, thread locking everything. This thing's never coming apart. That's not true, it probably will come apart. I did the one on the motors, thank you, Ray. Episode 3, so I'm hoping it's going to be later this week. Let me... Oh, I can't check my calendar because it's on my phone, which is up there. Let me check my calendar. I'm hoping later this week. I want to get a little bit of momentum. My goal is, now that you've all seen plenty of me doing heat set inserts and stuff, is to get a lot of the prep work done out of the way ahead of time so that these streams can be a lot shorter than last time I did these builds. The fact this axis has gone together in what, just over 2.5 hours, is a pretty good sign. So hopefully we're on for a quicker process this time around. Right, let's have a look. What's it doing? This little calendar. Basically what I need to do is find an evening when my other half won't be in. So you know what? Let's do it tomorrow. Tomorrow night is next episode. Right, Monday night, probably a slightly later start because I've got to get back from work. Yeah, see you tomorrow. Well, I say that, I'm getting ahead of myself. I've got a tiny few little bits left to screw on before we're done. Okay, so this is the other end of that same cable chain. So this is the one with the holes in this time. I'm going to attach the actual cable chain later. And it's going to go facing back like that. So you can actually see what I'm doing. Where'd they go? I do need to do... I've got a 3D printer build that's ongoing at the moment as well, but to be honest, that's all electrical and firmware, so that's left. And honestly, the wiring of the 3D printers is always the most tedious part for me, particularly when it's a beta build and yeah, there isn't a nice wiring guide. It's just gone everywhere on my hands. See, I don't mind it when there's a good guide and, like, you know, it's all been kind of thought about, but the one that I'm working on is kind of too early stage for it to be polished like that, and so I've taken it apart and put it back together about 5 times because parts have changed before I got to that stage. You know, it's just all of the things with being an early tester. Is what it is. But I'm pretty excited about this particular 3D printer when it does come out, but it's not ready for the masses yet, that's for sure. Right, what have we got left? So cable chain, but we're going to do that later, and then we're done. Just quickly flip back through, check we didn't miss anything. Obviously we don't have the carriages on yet because we're going to install them with the rails. We did locking collars, we did motor and lead screw, we did the bearing block and the motor block. Cool. Right guys, I think that's probably it. I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to get the hand wheels printed out for next time. In fact, I might start that print now. But yeah, Y-axis complete. Until next time guys, keep making chips. Brr.